Hi, Select Characters Podcast.
Hello!
We're here with literally everyone now, so that's pretty good. Everyone showed up.
Make
Even
podcasting great again.
Enrique and me. So that's good. I guess. Talk about video games. Enrique, because you've not been here for, the past week, you can start.
Yeah, as in what I've been playing.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Well, obviously World of Warcraft, but that shouldn't come as a surprise.
You claimed the new content, or?
Yes, since I last spoke, which was 2 weeks ago, they released the Nighthold, which is the newest raid, and I'm having a blast with it. I think it's actually one of the more creative raids that Blizzard has released.
Like in terms of mechanics, or?
Both, just mechanics and design, though. It's actually really cool. It's cool because like you're basically breaking into the Nighthold, which is the big kind of like central fortress for like the elves that are kind of allied with Gul'dan and like the Burning Legion and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's cool because you can't actually go into the front gates. You have to kind of go in through like a side entrance into sewers and make your way in. So Blizzard did a really cool job of kind of making this feel like you're actually kind of breaking in through the sewers. You have to fight 3 bosses down there. Then you kind of come out into the courtyard, and then there's a royal guard you got to fight, and you kind of progress through. Mm-hmm. But each encounter is actually really, really interesting. They got really unique mechanics. There's one boss, for example, that you start at the end of a bridge, and as kind of the fight goes on, it's what you call a DPS check, which is, you have to have a certain amount of damage to beat it, because as the fight goes on, he destroys parts of the bridge, and he keeps pushing you further and further back until you eventually pushed against the wall, and if you don't beat him before he knocks out that final part of the bridge, I mean, you all die. There's another really cool one, which is he's called the Star Augur, who's, I guess, kind of like almost like an astronomer type character. Mm-hmm. And you fight him in the observatory, and it's really cool because as the fight progresses, he goes through different phases where the walls kind of fall apart, and you kind of see this really awesome like visage of the universe. And every fight, he kind of empowers himself with like a different element. Like there's spell, there's void, there's magic, and it's gorgeous because like the background will actually change, and there's a planet in the background that you can actually see. Like when he goes into the fell mode, the planet kind of gets overtaken by green fire and flames, and then when he goes into the void, you see like these like kind of black tendrils creep over the planet, and it gets like taken over by like that dark shadow. It's an awesome looking fight.
It's really cool.
Probably
It sounds like
there.
they went above and beyond to make that raid more than just content to be cleared. It sounds like it's an actual experience.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. I mean, and it's been really fun. I think right now the mythic race for it though is I think most guilds, like the top guilds in the world, are I think 8 out of 10 right now. So the two last bosses are still left for Mythic, which let me just to see which one wins. I think last I heard Serenity was in the top spot.
Oh shit, they're still doing stuff?
Yeah.
Damn, they've been a thing for ages.
It's kind of cool though, actually, because they actually got off to a rough start because I guess somebody in their guild wanted to be a dick, and I guess he got his character saved to the raid lockout, and then joined their raid, and then kind of fucked up with their lockout, so they were, I think, messed up for about 2 hours. They got like a 2-hour late start because of it.
Jesus.
But despite that, I mean, they're in first place right now. So, I mean, it's kind of cool just to see that, because, I mean, these are people that kind of, I mean, they sit down and focus and min-max hard. So it's kind of interesting to see people that dedicated to it.
Yeah, these people actually play World of Warcraft like for their job, right? They're getting sponsored by big-name companies and stuff.
Essentially at a professional level, so it's kind of interesting.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, aside from World of Warcraft, because I've been talking about that for the past few weeks, I picked up a new game on Steam called The Last Leviathan, which I thought was really interesting. Mm-hmm. I actually saw it, ironically, just like on a random Facebook like ad, and I checked it out, and it's actually really fun. It's still in early access, unfortunately, but
most things are nowadays. So.
Yeah, for anybody that likes Besieged, I'd recommend it because it's got a lot of the similar elements where you're building a craft out of just a bunch of smoothing spare parts. Mm-hmm. But the fun part about that is that when you build your little pirate ship, you actually set sail and you kind of fight other ships. You can get parts from different ships to kind of upgrade your own hull, and then the goal, I guess, is to find these leviathans, which are just these giant sea monsters throughout the world. And it's supposed to kind of have a progression system where you're going to have to build bigger and better ships and kind of change the type of ship layout you have to fight the different creatures you run into. So I think that's actually pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, so I mean, that's been a little fun game. And then aside from that, just grabbing, like the small stuff on and off that I've been playing. Pokemon's, whatever the new Pokemon is.
Sun and Moon, I think.
Yeah, Overcooked on PlayStation with my girlfriend, so I'm kind of getting a little bit better at that. And Day of the Tentacle, which is free on PlayStation right now. So it's actually really fun having get the chance to replay that again.
All right. Very cool, man.
We just beat Overcooked last night.
Nice. How'd you like it?
It was good. It was fine.
Good to know.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I want to play through the DLC too, but I don't like that the last story mission was like 10 minutes long. It's way too long.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be a little bit dragged out.
So dragged out 10 minutes. So I assume the rest of the game is very quick fire in nature.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more like 2 minutes. 2 to maybe, I think it goes up to 3.
Right, yeah.
And
So then
so
10
it's
minutes
just-
is like an endurance run.
Yeah, it's like
essentially.
a fucking eternity compared to the other levels. And it has an unskippable intro sequence.
Oh, great.
Oh, like
Yeah.
that little trait. I guess like the first level.
Yeah, and the dude in the helicopter, like the dog in the helicopter talking to you and the guy talking to you, and you can't just skip it.
Yeah, you just kind of sit there, even though if you played it before.
So it took us 3 tries, so that's 30 minutes. It's just like, yeah. The first time we played it and we lost it, I think, twice in a row, and it took us like 2 weeks to get back to it just because I didn't want to go through all that again.
I always hate it when you can't skip conversations with in-game dogs. It's just...
It's the worst, man. But that
Grinds your
game
gears.
overall is a lot of fun as a co-op game.
So, yeah, it's not competitive in any way then. You're working together.
I
Well,
mean,
they do have, like,
can
a
get
versus
a little
mode.
competitive. And also, yeah, there's a versus mode, but I haven't played that.
Right.
It can get competitive in the way of like who can mess stuff up the least. So, in that way, yeah, it's very competitive.
Yeah,
Like-
especially when you take into account, like, there's a lot of different things going on at once where you have to deliver the plates, you have to prep each individual item, you have to wash the plates. So, ideally, you want everybody on the top of their game, but like Sam said, it can get kind of competitive in the sense that somebody can fuck it up for the other person.
Like, just for example, say your wife could just dash off the map with an entire finished dish.
So you're trying to be the least the least detrimental person of the team.
Yeah,
how
that's
you
right.
would- Cool.
In that way, yeah, it's competitive. But I guess that's the kind of competitive that's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, I guess so. Enrique, you played anything else? Or?
No, just that stuff.
All right, well, Sam, you've already started, so you may continue.
Overwatch, the Rooster thing, Rooster Jam.
Oh yeah, you're the Roosters out, right?
Yeah, and that capture the flag mode is in, which is cool.
How is that? Because I saw really interesting. I guess the developer talked. They're discussing the different plans they've had for, I guess, how to bring that to Overwatch. Because I guess the nature of the heroes and their powers was very kind of weird choice for them.
Yeah, they said they wanted to test the waters first with the capture the rooster mode, and then maybe revisit it as a permanent mode later down the line.
Yeah, I think it could work theoretically, but right now it's just complete chaos.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the way, like right now I don't like it, but the way in my head that it could work could be pretty neat.
Is it fun chaos?
It depends. I
I'd
mean,
say
it can
so.
be. Yeah.
I'd say so.
the thing is-
some heroes are imbalanced as all hell. Like heroes like Tracer and Sombra, they've got a leg up on the rest, really.
That's what I figured. Like that, someone like Tracer could just kind of port in, wait the however many seconds to grab the flag and then do her recall,
Yeah,
or even
pretty much.
Winston popping his ultimate with his leap and everything.
Well, yeah, but that's why you need defense. And like if you take any damage while you're trying to cap it, it resets the timer.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
The way that in my head it would work like in a game that was awesome would be you sort of need to win 2 team fights because there's going to be one in the middle and then one when you're trying to buy the time to capture the flag. And so I think if everybody kind of came together and actually planned and made it work, that would be a really interesting kind of tug of war thing, because winning 2 team fights in a row is probably more difficult if the teams were balanced. And so you'd have a lot of sort of back and forth sway where they'd push you all the way to your side and then you'd push all the way back until somebody managed to get a flag. But once you grab it, that's like any attempt to get the flag back is basically a Hail Mary because of all the movement abilities and stuff like you were talking about with Tracer and Sombra.
I feel like
Or
considering
almost anybody.
considering like taking any damage kind of resets it, I figure someone like Tor would be like ridiculously overpowered in that mode.
Well, yeah, because you got to really own it, right? Which is why there would be like 2 team fights, I think. So the winning strategy right now is just to kind of push out slowly and gradually move them back and gradually move them back until you've pushed them all the way to the spawn, clear the flag and take it, and then you're out.
Okay.
But now imagine it's that, but in quick play. And so it's impossible to do, but when it does work, it's awesome. Like Reinhardt leading the charge, it just feels like, the Spartans setting their shields down and jamming their spears and then scooting up and putting the shields back down. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of gradually push your way there. But that does, and then so outside of that, maybe you could have people, you're like, do we do 2 on defense, et cetera, et cetera. Like in theory, it's awesome. It's just actually playing it is terrible. And then one team will manage to get 1 cap and then they go all defense. And it's almost impossible to break at that point.
Yeah, that's a huge design flaw.
And even if I lost the train of thought, but even you try to go all defense and then maybe like sneak a tracer around the side or something, but even if you do at that point, it says 6 versus 5 if they send all their people against you. So
they need to look at the mechanics and rethink their approach to this mode if they want to bring it back in the future as part of a non-event thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I think it's got potential. I like the way it works a lot of the time when it's not complete chaos. Mm-hmm. It's just that's very rare. Like, it took me... You win 1 game of that and you get the loot box for the event, like the free one. Oh, nice. And it took me probably 7 games to do that. It was like 4 draws and 2 losses, and then I finally won.
I'm sorry you're such a bad...
Yeah, that's on me. I'm bad at capture the flag. I'm bad at Overwatch in general.
Oh, so we moved on from defiance and outright denial to...
Yeah, I'm in the acceptance phase right now. I've accepted that I'm bad, and how do I get better? Right, that's where I'm at now. But I have no time to even keep up with it like I used to.
Don't drown in the melancholy. You'll be fine.
Let's see. I actually didn't have a lot of time to play games this week, so that's probably it for me.
All right. Jamie?
Yeah, I haven't played a lot this week either. I played Rayman, of course.
All right, give us an update.
I think I've got 18 days left approximately until I should have it done.
Oh.
And then we'll all be free.
You do actually, yeah. You said 26, right?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, 18 days.
Awesome. Yeah.
18 days.
Yeah, and then all of us are free. And none of us ever have to hear about it ever again.
But like contingent on performance, though, right?
Yeah.
Just once he's done, video games are just over. We've done it.
I've been playing Binding of Isaac a lot as well, which I haven't really got much more to say about that. And I've played a lot of Little Big Planet 3 this week.
Oh, right.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
Which is a super fun game.
It is.
Is it?
I mean, it's a fun platformer, I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. What the hell, man?
The controls in that game are a nightmare.
I really didn't.
I didn't find that. I mean, there's not many controls. There's like left, right, and jump.
Yeah, I can't remember which one I played, but it was just the moving around and jumping.
Well,
and
there's the left, right, jump, and slap. Don't forget the slap.
Of course, slap. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that changes everything.
It's like 98. It's like 98% of the reason people play that.
Yeah, especially when like you equip the frying pan or something, and you get that really satisfying dong
like
noise.
That dong.
Yeah,
yep.
That's so good.
It's so satisfying.
Is the third one still narrated by Stephen Fry?
Yes, it is, and it also has Hugh Laurie playing the villain.
Oh, that's incredible!
So
I love that.
Fry and Laurie are back together again, and that is Little Big Planet that brought them back. That's amazing.
Pretty cool. I need to play those games at one point.
Yeah, my favorite thing about it is that once you get into create mode, it just shows you how uncreative you are.
I was about to say, it just shows you how like impotent your mind is.
You're like, wow, I've got all of this stuff that I can do shit with, and you go online and you see like someone's recreated the entirety of Final Fantasy VII and Little Big Planet, and you're like, oh, awesome, I'm gonna make something now. And then
I am paralyzed by choice.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I've made a level where you walk from the left to the right.
I saw a really cool one where somebody made like a Bruce Wayne Manor / Batman Batcave level where you start off going through like the front entrance of like Bruce Wayne's mansion. You go into the mansion, you slide down a pole, and it goes into the Batcave, and they have all these little playing cards with all of it. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's so cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I've seen people make levels based on Assassin's Creed. I've seen people make levels based on what was the other game I was thinking about. Bioshock. I saw a really, really good Bioshock one.
I played a Dead Space remake in it, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, and then like I said, you build your own level, and you have a lever that you can swing on for a bit. And you're like, man,
Yeah, it's that Mario World 1 level 1 thing.
I made a thing.
Yeah, the problem is though, like there is too many. There's more people like me than there are like amazing people who are clever and stuff. So when you go online and you try to find a decent level, you play like 50 levels where it's just like you play the level and it's just like 50 knobs of like different shapes and sizes and colors. Like there's a sponge dick, and there's like a metal dick, and then there's like an anti-gravity dick.
It's like Spawn all over again. Well, I mean, that was kind of the issue I had with Mario Maker when it first launched. When you try playing the online levels, where you have like it fell into categories where like,
You had a piranha plant dick and a mushroom dick.
there's a pipe dick, a helicopter dick, the little fire spinny dicks.
The internet, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's totally ruined some things for us.
Wherever you go, you'll see some dicks.
Mario Maker, that had that thin version of Mario in it, and it was fucking terrifying.
That's true. I remember that.
Yeah, that guy was very creepy.
It was real bad. If you saw that walking behind you, you'd start walking faster, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
That was it, Jamie?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. I've not really been home much over the week, so I just played some Watch Dogs 2. I get a very minimal amount of Watch Dogs 2. I played a little more of The Division. It's a very Ubisoft-themed week for me, apparently. But no new insights to give you there, I guess.
Oh, Jesus, I'm looking at the image of like that thin Mario. I just forgot how creepy that shit was.
Oh, right back into fucking therapy.
He's so long. It's so
I'm
like
not looking that up. I don't want to see that again.
it's just so like discomforting.
Yeah, he does. He looks off in the same way that Mario looks off in that Mario Universe thing or whatever it's called that's coming up. Odyssey,
Yeah,
that's the one.
this is even worse because it almost looks like a real person because of like how long his extremities are. But I don't know, dude. It's weird.
It's
He's
the
like-
hunch. It's the
Yeah,
hunch
it's the
that really
bent
does it to you. Like
I think-
he's
yeah, I think
concealing
that's what
his
it
true
is.
height.
It's like the hunch and just like the curved arms and legs. Like this is what I feel like a pedophile would look like. It's like he's just there to prey on the small toads. The princess is in another castle. Good.
Which the more I play Overwatch, that game's got weird legs in it too.
Yeah, it's all a bit off. Like no character has the right proportions, it seems.
Like when people jump and their toes always point downwards in this weird way.
Yeah.
That game's got weird legs too.
I also get the feeling that Tracer will break every bone in her body with that slender frame and the speed that she's zipping her out with. I mean, think of the G-force that she has to be subjugated to. Jesus, that's not the right word either, is it? Let's just move on. Anybody else want something to say?
No, we did not play a lot of video games.
Nah, not
No.
this week.
It was very light on video games this week. Let's move into the news. Oh, by the way, I want to say something else about Overwatch. They hit 25 million players, I think 3 days ago, as of the time of recording this. So that is insane. That last year around this time, nobody really knew what Overwatch was, and the people that did know, the game was still really far away from being released, and now it's this huge phenomenon with its own esports scene and everything, and that all happened in the past like 8 months or something. I think it's pretty cool.
25 million is so many.
Yeah, it's a staggering amount of players.
Is that active users or is that just like registered users?
That's a good question, actually. It probably is active users. The number could be so high because multiple players have multiple accounts sometimes,
Goddamn twinks.
right? I mean,
Not enough that I wouldn't consider that to be a runaway success, though.
No, yeah, that's true for sure.
Oh, that game is definitely a success, no matter what way you look at it. So, well done, Overwatch, I guess. Let's talk about The Division for a little while. They get new premium currency.
Oh,
And you can use that, or you can buy that premium currency with real money and then use it to buy in-game vanity items, they call them. So just cosmetics, weapon skins, stuff like that.
That's
It's not a
bad.
very big thing. Yeah,
Okay,
nobody was really surprised either, I think, because Destiny is pretty much the same game, but more spacey, I guess, and they started doing it after a year of being out, and now the Division is following suit. Why not, right?
So has that been exclusively done just for cosmetic items? Like you can't use them towards anything else?
No, just cosmetic stuff. Nothing that could give you something over other players who don't want to pay for in-game currency. Plus, you can get that in-game currency by just playing the game as well. So
Okay.
you don't just have to buy it. But I'd imagine that the drop rate is really, really low on that. As to, they want people to buy that stuff, so they have to figure out some way to push people to make buying it the more convenient option.
Right. I mean, that's fine as long as it's just cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really matter. Like, hang on.
Right, Blade Runner.
This is the worst podcast we've ever done.
It really is.
This is just the worst. Add that to the book, Jamie.
This is outside of my control. I can't control what kind of idiot drives past my house. Seems to be gone now. So, geez, what was the last thing I said before I got rudely
Division
interrupted?
premium currency cosmetics are okay to pay for.
Yep. All right. That's all I wanted to say on that, really.
All right.
All right. So there was a report made in 2016 that through that we now know that the CS:GO skin gambling thing was a $5 billion industry in 2016. And it's probably because of that Valve is now cracking down on skin trading for Team Fortress 2 as well. They've shut down Steam groups around Team Fortress 2 gambling, and accounts associated with skin gambling will be banned by Valve. So that's a thing
no
that's
fun.
happening now. Yeah.
No fun.
I mean, there's still a bunch of third-party sites doing it, though.
Yeah, but apparently they're going to crack down on that as well. Apparently, the Washington State Gambling Commission has demanded Valve to immediately cease facilitating any sort of skin trading through Steam. So,
Boo hiss.
yeah, as someone who likes to gamble and stuff like that, like, how does that make you feel?
Bummed out, man. I found a Twitch channel though where you get sandwiches for every 1 minute you watch the channel, and you can bet those on the matches that the streamer's playing, on like whether they win or lose. So that's pretty good.
It's a bit of a loophole there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Sandwiches.
not real. I imagine they could name it whatever they want to. This one just happens to be sandwiches.
Let's call them Fun Bucks or something.
Yeah, the channel's called One Amongst Many. It's pretty good.
Okay. That sounds like a play on the 1 versus 100 that Xbox Live used to have.
See, that would be great. Bring that back. Washington State Gambling Commission. Bring back 1 versus 100.
I don't even know what that is.
It was something that Xbox Live used to have here in the States where people, it was basically like a trivia show. What was it? It was 100 people versus like the one main person that could win the money or Xbox Live points or whatever.
Yeah, it's based on a TV show, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then everybody else was just in the crowd, and you could sort of answer the trivia questions and do hopefully good enough to make your way into the 100, or maybe even be the 1.
All right.
And so you would get a trivia question, and everybody answers it, and then if the 1 gets it right, and then however many of the 100 get it wrong, they're gone. Mm-hmm. And then the 1 tries to beat the 100.
Right.
Pretty
Okay.
sure that's how it works. I don't remember. That was probably 8 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
But it was
pretty long
cool,
time.
and it was live. Like you had to sit down at your Xbox at a certain time every week to play. It
It's
was
pretty
awesome.
cool. They don't really do that sort of stuff.
They had like a
anymore, do they?
live announcer whose name was Chris Cashman. Is that
Most
right?
American name ever.
Yeah, is that a real last name, Cashman? Maybe.
Cashman?
Probably.
Cashman? Sure.
Anyway, yeah, that was a cool experience, but I don't know, man. Like I'm not gonna spectate that stuff for just no reason. You know, like I'm not gonna just watch esports and be like, "Yeah, go team," because why wouldn't I just play the game? If I'm at my computer, why would I watch the game when I could play the game?
So you can watch people who are very, very good at playing that game.
I suppose that's true too.
Could possibly help you figure out some tactics for your own playing. I don't know.
All right, that's totally fair, but they got to sweeten the pot a little bit. Besides that,
There's a whole show that surrounds those esports leagues now. It is like entertainment. So I guess you can just watch it just because. I don't know. Don't really do it. As someone who has been involved in gambling on CS:GO stuff, has that scene sort of changed after Valve started cracking down on them? Because I'd imagine that the supply is now, I guess, illegal, but the demand is probably still there. So.
Yeah, that's true. I actually haven't even looked into it since I stopped playing Counter-Strike, which was a very long time ago. So right. I actually don't know. It's a good question, though. I'm sure it just went deeper underground, right? That would make sense. Like, let's go to CS:GO Lounge and see if it's still around. Probably not.
Yeah, or it's been changed into something else entirely.
Well, yeah, from what I could see, CS:GO Lounge looks the way I remember it, but I don't know.
Well, I'll look into that soonish. See what I can dig up, because it seems interesting. Because it was a really big thing before last year. So, moving on, Resident Evil 7 has sold 2.5 million copies, which is rather high.
Do you know how many of those are for the VR? Because I heard that they actually had a really hefty sum on there as well.
Yeah, it was like 30K were playing it on VR or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently, it's been a hit, and it's a good game. Apparently.
See, that's what I want out of VR. I don't want these like really shitty gimmicky games. I want like actual, like legit full blown gaming experiences that just happen to be VR compatible.
Yeah, this is apparently one of those games, which is pretty cool. I mean, I thought you out of the four of us, I thought that you would be the most likely buyer for that game because you have both a PlayStation 4 and a PSVR. I'm
picking it up this week. I've just been waiting to see reviews because, like I said, I'm just very hesitant that a lot of the games that are going to be coming out for it are more towards that side of the bell curve, where it's more gimmicky and not really their time.
No, it isn't. It's like developed for non-VR play, but it's got VR functionality.
I'm not going to lie. I'm also like I don't want to shit my pants because I'm also a big fraidy cat.
Yeah. From what I've been reading and from what people have told me, that game is legitimately terrifying, especially in VR, but also outside of VR. So,
I can imagine it'd be even worse in VR because it's bad enough that I remember freaking out playing Amnesia when it first came out, like in the dark.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
And that's with me being able to like turn the lights on and like wrap myself in a blanket. I can't even imagine not having that break in reality or break in immersion wearing a VR headset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just have a very active imagination in addition to that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it. It's going to be awful. I'll let you know how it is.
Yes, please. I'm never going to do it. Dude, I got stressed out after playing Oxenfree for about 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, fuck it, this is too creepy for me. And it was like 11 at night. I actually did wait until the following day, just midday, to play the rest of it. Because I'm a scaredy cat as well. What do you think of this? Marvel is teaming up with Square Enix to make an adventure or make an Avenger game.
I'm super psyched.
Yeah, it sounds good, right?
Yeah, I still remember the old leak footage for that THQ Avengers game that looked pretty promising.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh man, it should be all over the internet now. Yeah, we could probably put a link on it, but it was some old test footage. It was a first-person kind of Avengers game where I guess you fought the Skrulls, which are kind of shape-shifting aliens that somehow managed to copy all the Avenger powers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a 4-player first-person co-op game, and I think you could play, at least from the promo shot, it showed Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk.
Is it like officially cancelled or has it been shelved?
Oh no, it's officially canceled. Like that test footage came out a few years ago, and then that whole stuff with THQ going under kind of happened, and I think the title just kind of went off in limbo.
Right.
Which is sad because it looked really promising. I think I got a lot of support just from community in general. But again, comic books in general, I think, are a really great fit for the video game stratosphere because you have titles like Prototype and Infamous, where it's you got characters, they have powers, you can kind of set them in open city. The Spider-Man games, for example, they really lend themselves to that kind of treatment.
Yeah, they provide an easy way for a developer to give a player.
Just coming up with cool, interesting mechanics. Spider-Man's swinging around the city, sticking to walls, playing with the physics of the environment.
Yeah. It's a power fantasy, essentially.
Yeah. That's why I think Spider-Man, like Ultimate Spider-Man, on the GameCube, and then Amazing Spider-Man 2 with like the really first fleshed out open city are two of my favorite titles still.
That was fantastic. When he actually shot the web, they actually hooked themselves to specific parts of a building, and if there was no building next to you, you couldn't swing away.
It goes nowhere. So I mean, that's why I'm kind of excited for the Sony one that's coming out. And,
right? Yeah, but that's made by a really well-known company as well, right?
Yeah, so I mean, just in general, like I just hope that like they continue because I think Square Enix has a really good track record of games for the most part. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if this will be developed. Well, no, it won't be developed in-house by Square Enix. That will do the publishing. The game is being developed by Crystal Dynamics, which you might know from Tomb Raider, and Eidos Montreal, the dudes who were responsible for the Deus Ex franchise. So that's two teams with a pedigree, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down for it. Like I said, give me anything Marvel or just comic book in general. I'm happy for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a game centered around the Avengers, and they have said that it's a completely new story, but all the things that fans like about those characters will be represented in the game. So that's pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah. And that was actually it. There wasn't much news this week in addition to us not really having a lot of time for video games. So this is probably our shortest one in, well, ever, I think.
We could read this question we got in our email.
Right.
Let's do it.
Let's do that.
All right. I will read it out loud with my mouth. Dear select characters,
Gross.
Last week you voiced a lot of hate about Steep being overly realistic and consequentially boring. I'd previously heard only good things about the game, the praises it received being similar to the praise I'd heard for the Skate series' realism. My question for you is, in what genres do you actually want games to be as realistic as possible? Shooters, sports games, strategy games, no games? Why?
None
I
of them
definitely have genres that I
whatsoever.
want. I'm still reading. I
I'm
definitely
sorry.
have genres that I want to be more like simulations, though I have more genres where I just want them to be as fun and not simulation-y as possible. Looking forward to the show.
Sorry for interrupting you there.
I forgive
No, you're
you.
not. No, you're not. I don't know. Like, I think I tend to side with Crystal that I don't really want. I mean, not necessarily genre, but I wouldn't mind for like as a blanket statement, just graphics in general and kind of like the physics being more realistic.
Yeah.
Just being able to see like light, like more realistic looking lighting effects, shadows, just interaction with the environment. I think that would be cool. But in regards to mechanics, I mean, I think that could be very detrimental. I mean, can you imagine a shooter with like realistic mechanics where you get shot in the leg? It's like, fuck, femoral artery, gonna bleed out now.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
slowly.
Looking forward to playing that sequence in the next Call of Duty. You're trying to remain conscious after you've been shot a couple times.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm not into it. I'd basically say none of them, unless the realism leads itself to interesting decision-making and interesting mechanics that aren't possible
yeah.
by having it be less realistic.
Or-
Because normally it seems like taking away realism is what makes those choices more interesting, or distills them down to a point where now you're actually making a decision instead of just watching something happen.
I like realism in games that can easily mimic what it's like to do a thing in the real world as well. Like, for instance, racing games. If you get yourself a steering wheel or something like that, that's really cool. That's that you can play that as a sim, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like realism and simulation games, I mean, I think they kind of go hand in hand because I mean, it ties directly to what the mechanics of the genre are supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, I mean, no, go ahead, Jamie.
I was gonna say, I think it depends how you define realism, because like, I think stealth games could do with more realism, but not like, I don't know, like in terms of like the AI and stuff. So I think Alien Isolation was more of a realistic
Yes.
thing than like, I don't know, Hitman or something like that. Like when I play a stealth game, I don't just want one AI to have like a certain pattern that he follows around the map so I can sit back in a bush, wait for him to follow that pattern, learn it, and then go and do that. I want him to be able to react realistically to what I'm doing and the decisions I'm making.
Right.
I think that works a lot better in a stealth game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, same.
Which is why I think it's like so much fun to play like Assassin's Creed Online, where that's what you've got. You've got those realistic things. So like if you've ever played Team Fortress 2 as the spy, and you can play it like a full stealth game, but you're not playing against AI. You're playing against real people who are a lot smarter, but at the same time can be a lot dumber, because sometimes when you play a stealth game, like, an enemy will hear you, like, directly behind them for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
yeah.
I think that would be a good idea. And I guess like sports games like NHL or FIFA and stuff like that have to be realistic.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
like, you know,
In terms of the physics, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
but the players fall down and just complain until a red card gets thrown. Yeah.
So either that or it's a full battle royale, isn't it? Yeah, realism's absolutely fine in games, but I don't really need it in most of the games that I play. If I want realism, I step outside for a bit. So
I played that once. It was awful.
oh.
No, but yeah, I agree. Like, I think realism is not bad in and of itself, but I think that just the context of it really, really matters. Like Jamie was saying, like a stealth game where you have some realism in regards to at least how the AI reacts. Like Alien Isolation was a great example. You're right, where you could hide if you make noise, they'll see you. You do need to hide and like stay hidden until if the alien's in the area. So I mean, things like that, it makes sense. But again, you don't want to get it too realistic to the point where, I mean, your character gets winded from running from one side of the room to the locker, and you're like, fuck, I can't do this.
I think there's a point where like you want the action to be realistic, but not the after effects. Yeah. Like you don't want to deal with everything coming after. For example, that Call of Duty thing you said, it's cool to have the guns behave realistically, right, and not cool to deal with the getting shot part, because that would be boring.
Yeah, or like, I mean, even like when when someone, like a grenade goes off into your vicinity, I love that they add that kind of realistic effect where you get the deafening sound, like the muffled audio, like a couple seconds afterwards, but it wears off afterwards. You don't have to go the rest of the match with a blown eardrum.
Yeah,
right.
And I wonder how much of that is due to like the timing of it, because normally the stuff that's realistic and is boring is because it takes a long time.
Right.
Like if I was playing an RPG and I wanted to burn a forest down, that'd be awesome. I want it to be realistic, but what are you going to do about making it grow back? Wait 100 years? Right? So like it's that second part of the realism that I think is no fun in video games, but the first part could be cool. Make some interesting situations.
Wasn't that actually one of the things that Peter Molyneux promised for the original Fables, that trees you cut down will grow back over time?
Yes, he did.
But not realistically.
He promised a lot of things. But I mean, I don't know. I think that there's also something to be said about just when you abandon all realism. I mean, case in point, the Skyrim and Oblivion, just any Bethesda game in general, when if you have a high enough sneak skill, you can shoot somebody almost point blank in the eye, and then they'll be like, "Who's there?" Guess that was nothing.
That's video game as fuck, though.
I know, but I mean, sometimes that's funny. Like, even if it's not necessarily an intentional, like intentionally done. Because I mean, I don't think they meant for them to be like, "Hey, let's make the AI capable of surviving a shot to the head and not know where the person's coming from." But it's just a byproduct of how the mechanics work. Hey, if your sneak skill is high enough, then you will not be seen when you commit these actions. So, or even fucking, I mean, dude. Conversely, though, Skyrim had that big issue with. Was it like your sneaking skill being caught if a chicken was in the area? Where it's technically realistic because there is something that can see you, but the game, it just registers that and it doesn't know how to kind of code it properly. Where, hey, chickens are not considered, I guess, people or
law enforcement.
Yeah, law or witnesses for the sake of this action, but
that's what they want you to think.
Yeah, that's true.
They're always watching you. Always.
They're always watching.
They'll notice whatever you do.
Big Brother's poultry eye.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that once again sounds like the Bethesda approach to game design. Chicken sees you, it's illegal.
I don't know, dude. Like, I think, but just Bethesda's always had some really fun gimmicks with them trying to recreate realism.
I'm just joking. I'm not having a go at them this time.
That's the title of the next game that I'm making. It's called Chicken Sees You, It's Illegal.
Oh man, just have a chicken casually stalking you the entire game. And it'll be the premier stealth game.
Yeah, Jamie, you want a more realistic stealth experience? I recommend playing Chicken Sees You, It's Illegal.
And you gotta have just random "Bawk." Just right when you think you're alone.
You have to manage your character's anxiety because he just knows in the back of his mind that there's always a chicken following him, and he knows it's the same chicken, but he can't prove it.
It'll be like Alien Resurrection, man. Like you're just hiding around it in a locker, just waiting for like the clucking to stop.
Is it playable in VR?
Oh, it goddamn well better be.
Thank God.
It's only playable in VR. Right. That was it, I guess. Thank you for the question, by the way. And I think that we have fulfilled our contractual obligations for yet another week. I'm really fucking tired. I'm just going to head off now. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah, try to play something next week.
Yes.
I will.
We will definitely try that. And it won't be a Ubisoft game. I'll try. Game. I'll try. Game. I'll try. Game. I'll